Disneyland. It's the happiest place on Earth and the quintessential destination for birthdays, celebrations, and other important life events. But consider this. What if things behind the scenes at Walt Disney's domain weren't really that happy after all? Today, on Screen to Screen, we take a journey into the labyrinth of the many ghosts of Disneyland. But before we dive into that musty theme park attraction water to swim in the mysteries it holds, make sure you subscribe to The Graveyard Shift and let us know in the comments which true-life horror stories you'd like for us to cover in the future. Walt Disney was a pioneer of the animation art form in North America. He took it from a sideshow oddity and transformed it into a highly respected theatrical enterprise. Originally born in Kansas, Disney fell on hard times early in his life and moved out west. He sought his fortune by making commercials and animated shorts for movie studios. After building up a successful film production company and studio, he set his sights on something far more grand, inventing a dreamlike alternate reality for the fans of his films. How would he accomplish this? Themed attractions. Parks. Disney was known to take his daughters to Six Flags and other theme parks when they were young. He became obsessed with these spaces. Manufacturing a fantastical dream on the silver screen wasn't enough for Walt. He wanted to create his own rose-colored reality here, in the real world. It was a goal almost everyone close to him thought was pure madness. His first venture into the theme park space was the Disneyland Resort, built in Anaheim, California. It opened on July 15, 1955, and since its opening has spawned multiple additional parks, including Disney World, Disney Tokyo, Epcot, and Disneyland Paris. Today, Disneyland is a globally famous institution. It's a signifier of family fun, escapism, and joy. However, Disneyland has a much darker legacy, one filled with greed, bloodshed, and accidental death. To put it simply, Disneyland has a near constant partner, practically since its inception. Thomas Guy Cleveland has the distinction of being one of the most recognizable and infamous ghosts that lurk within the walls of Disneyland. Believe it or not, in 1966, a 19-year-old Cleveland attempted to sneak into the Anaheim Park by scaling an outer fence. His plan was to then climb along the monorail track and find his way to the ground. Unfortunately, once he had successfully scaled the outer defensive structures, he was met with a rude awakening. Something he had foolishly not contemplated at all was that the monorail did not stop functioning after dark, meaning that the rail he was traveling along was still very much in use. As Thomas Guy Cleveland was attempting to crawl down the monorail structure, an oncoming tram barreled down the way. It struck him, almost instantly killing the boy. He fell from the track and was crushed by the impact. His body lay there for hours as park security attempted to locate it. Eventually, the corpse was found, but the guards were so disturbed by it that many refused to touch the body, instead waiting for paramedics to arrive. These days, close to 70 years later, it is said that the specter can be seen prowling around the perimeter of the monorail track. His ghostly apparition primarily appears after sundown and vanishes as soon as the tram enters earshot. He can be heard whispering soft cautionary warnings to anyone walking by. The mourning young man appears to be bound to this earthly plane by an overwhelming sense of regret. More often than not, it appears as though he's attempting to warn others about the potential danger of the monorail. Many consider his tragedy a cautionary tale. However, those who have seen Thomas Guy Cleveland in person have permanently sworn off returning to the park, due to being disturbed by the boy's still mangled visage. Unfortunately, Thomas Guy Cleveland is not the only teenager to lose their life at Walt's Wonderland. In 1970, a would-be park employee of 18 named Deborah Stone was crushed to death while working as a hostess at the America Sings attraction. For those who don't remember, America Sings was located in a rotating theater that previously housed the Carousel of Progress. The tragic date of July 8th saw Stone accidentally caught between the rotating theater wall and the stationary stage wall. She quickly died from her injuries. Consequently, in an attempt to ensure that no one else would ever be harmed in this way again, a safety light was installed. It warned the attraction's operators that they were close to this potentially dangerous area. Urban legends insist that this senseless tragedy has kept Debbie Stone's spirit tethered to the area. Some stories allege that cast members working on the attraction can occasionally hear a whispering voice warning them to be careful. One park employee even claims to have felt an icy cold hand pulling them back from danger while working a position on the ride that would have taken their life. The attraction was open until 1988, when sightings of the ghostly apparition became so common that park executives decided to shut it down. That many employees have perished on park grounds is a harsh truth. That these lost lives have become legends is to be expected from a place with so many visitors and fans. However, none of them are as iconic as the man simply known as George. During the construction of the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at the Florida compound for Disney World, a welder named George was killed in an accident. Exactly what happened during the incident varies depending on who you talk to and what they can remember. According to some, he was crushed by a falling beam. Other Disney employees claim that he fell from the burning town portion of the ride and died as a result of impact. One thing the stories have in common, though, is that ever since his untimely demise, the ride has allegedly been plagued by strange phenomena that occur whenever someone takes George's name in vain. According to many eyewitnesses, the words "I don't believe in George" can summon floating objects, strange noises, or broken ride components. Additionally, rumors persist that the employees in charge of opening the ride during the day and closing it at night must utter "Good morning, George" and "Good night, George" at the appropriate times to keep him appeased. Otherwise, even more unexplainable happenings will transpire. The Pirates of the Caribbean attraction has long had a connection with the paranormal. Many early parkgoers even heard rumors that the skeletons on the ride were in fact constructed with real human bones. Long thought to be nothing more than an old wives' tale, this actually is true. The Disney Corporation purchased real skeletons from the UCLA Medical Center, thinking they were just dummy skeletons. The dead pirates on the ride were then constructed out of these secretly real corpses. No sightings of the bones' corporal owners have ever been reported, though, thankfully. Space Mountain is one of the most iconic rides at Disneyland. It opened in May 27, 1977, and was only the second roller coaster to ever be built at Disneyland. With a lineage that lengthy, it's only natural that there are some rumors of otherworldly happenings transpiring within its walls. Folklore suggests that Space Mountain is haunted by at least 3 spirits: an old man with red hair, a young boy in 70s attire, and a woman named Disco Debbie. These ghosts appear to be connected to Space Mountain in an unexplainable way. The old man is constantly referred to as Mr. One Way, his urban legend being that he died on the ride while attempting to walk along the tracks against the direction of the cars, and was struck by an oncoming one while doing so. This resulted in his premature passing. Now, he appears to be doomed to wait in line perpetually and ride the ride to its completion. Surveillance footage and photos of the red-haired man has been seen by numerous individuals. He doesn't talk to anyone in line. He doesn't even appear to be noticed by the other potential ride-goers. He just quietly, patiently waits his turn, boards the car, rides it to completion, and then exits. From here, he walks a few feet, sits down at the same park bench every time, and then spontaneously fades into nothingness. It's a truly solemn idea that this specter is doomed to repeat this never-ending cycle over and over again till the end of time. Another ghost that rides Space Mountain is a young boy dressed exclusively in 70s attire. The small boy can be seen on security camera footage talking with people in line, and many eyewitnesses have said that he was friendly, but strangely knew nothing about the park or any cultural events past the 1970s. Furthermore, despite waiting in line, this boy never actually boards the ride. He enters Space Mountain, becomes scared, and retreats to the back corner of the loading area, then vanishes through a wall. Still, he always reappears the next day, replaying the exact same events. Debbie Disco, on the other hand, is a much more outlandish spirit. She's often seen as patrons of the ride speed through the darkness, floating 10 to 15 feet off the ground and glowing brightly. Not many people know the story of why she appears to be trapped in between realms, stuck lurking around Space Mountain, but many attendees and employees have seen her glittering in the dark, which is how she earned her moniker. The Matterhorn opened on June 14, 1959. When it premiered, it was widely recognized as being the very first continuous tubular steel roller coaster in the world. Still, this achievement did not prevent tragedy from striking. In 1984, Regina Young, nicknamed Dolly, fell from her seat while riding the Matterhorn. She was killed instantly when she was struck by an oncoming bobsled. The teenager has since been wandering around the surrounding area and attempting to talk to Disney employees. One employee even went so far as to say that Dolly approached them and asked them where her mother was. Many Disney employees have come forward saying that when they were cleaning the Matterhorn late at night, they feel as though someone is watching them and that they've heard strange noises. Even to this day, there's a space at the end of the Matterhorn that is colloquially referred to as Dolly's Dip. This is supposedly where the young girl passed away. It is named in her honor and in an attempt to make her feel more at home in her new life between realms. Perhaps the most iconic and well-known specter that lurks inside Disneyland is the man himself, Walt Disney. If you're well-versed in Disney lore, you're probably aware of the fact that there's an apartment above the firehouse on Main Street. This apartment was made to appear as close to Walt Disney's actual office as possible. There's a long-standing tradition at the Disneyland parks of building exact replicas of his office on site, and keeping the light on through the night in case Walt ever needs to use it. This tradition started on July 17, 1955, the day after construction began on Disneyland. Walt Disney apparently wanted to stay on property in order to give more accurate feedback and oversight. Now, he gets that wish eternally. The apartment is roughly 500 square feet and only has the bare essentials for living, intended as a tribute to Walt. The light constantly being on has actually sparked its own urban legends. Some cast and crew members have passed the apartment late at night, having claimed to see Walt moving around inside of it. According to one version of the story, a Disney employee went upstairs to turn off the lights, thinking it was a waste of electricity, but after leaving, they looked back to see the lights were on again. So the employee went back and unplugged a lamp, and yet, the light was still visible from the street. Furthermore, as this employee was leaving the park that night, they supposedly claimed to have heard a voice whispering in the dark, "I'm still here." So, what do you think? Is Disneyland haunted? Do you believe any of these eyewitnesses? Do you think Walt Disney's ghost still lingers around Disneyland? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to The Graveyard Shift. And let us know in the comments which true stories that inspired your favorite horror films that you want to see next. Only on Scream to Screen.